Welcome to Epic Talks Behind the Curtains. I'm your host, Jada Monet, and I'm here with Brenda. How are you today?
Hey, girl. I'm doing good. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. So how are you enjoying the conference so far?
Yo, the conference has been super, super crazy. It's interesting because, like, we're all influencers. We know each other from online, but to all be, like, in the room and finally put personalities and in person, It's been super, super crazy.
That's awesome. So could you share a little bit about yourself and what your content is?
Okay, yeah, for sure. So I'm Brenda Palmer. I'm born and raised in Chicago, Illinois. I currently live in LA. I've been there for 6 years, so that's home now. So I always say, like, I'm a preacher, a podcaster, and a producer. So my background is in production. So I've worked everywhere from TBN, which is a Christian network, to BT, to Tidal. Like, I'm just a creative like that. But more recently, like maybe in the past 2 years, I started preaching, which was not on my agenda at all. And so literally my first video to ever go viral was a preaching clip, like on TikTok. I didn't even have a TikTok. And then I got on TikTok and somebody else put my video on there. I had like 7 followers. And then in a course of 7 days, I hit like 20K off of like one sermon clip video. So it's kind of like I fell into becoming an influencer. And so most of my content is faith-based, but like from just like an authentic place. Like, I think people will be like, oh, you make Christian content. It's like, no, I like, faith is my life. It's a part of my life. And so my content just kind of aligns with that.
So would you say that one video that you started, is that what inspired you to start?
Yeah, I guess. I literally, this is like really new for me. So like maybe like last year I probably had 2,500 followers. And so now I'm closer to 200K in the course of a year, like without really trying. It's just kind of like, I think my content resonates with the average person, and I try to be really honest. So like if I'm having a tough day or I'm feeling depressed or I'm walking through depression, it's like, here's how my faith is getting me through this. And then I have a podcast where it's like everyday life through the lens of faith. Like, how do we look at the things that happen in our life and go, okay, God, this sucked, but like, what did you want me to get out of this?
Right.
And so I think like having those authentic moments, I love going live and like talking to people. That's probably my favorite part, just clowning with people. But yeah, I think that is kind of what got started. Is kind of like, I feel like this is a space that God has opened up for me. So I'm like, okay, cool, let's do it.
Awesome. So what would you say would be the most meaningful moment with sharing the gospel to others?
It is, to be completely honest, it is like 16-year-olds or like anywhere between, like, I get DMs from like 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds that are like, hey, I saw your video and I gave my life to Jesus. Wow. Stuff like that completely wrecks me. Like, I'm like, first of all, the fact that a 16-year-old would find the content engaging enough, and then it, like, to watch it, but then engaging enough to say like, hey, I want to make a decision. Or I get DMs all the time for people saying like, you made me want to pursue a deeper relationship with Jesus. Like, I'm always for that. And recently I made like a really brave decision to like denounce the sorority I was in. And I went very public with it. And it's been really like affirming that was what God wanted me to do, to get like the amount of DMs I've gotten in the last couple of weeks of people like, now you made this make sense for me, like, and I'm gonna make this decision too. Like, so I think it's like when you think you're just doing something and then God's like, no, there's so much more impact like in the step of just saying yes. So
yes,
for sure.
I think that's awesome. And I can definitely say, like, with the upcoming generation, I see that they're crying out for more of Jesus. And I think it's also good to have younger influencers as well speak out and be bold and be those role models. Yeah,
absolutely.
So I think it's really, really powerful. And I think it's amazing that you're using your platform for God. And regardless of, you know, the naysayers.
For sure.
You know, and you're still doing it. And I think that's amazing and that's powerful and so beautiful.
Oh, I love that. Yes. You know, it's super cool. It's like odd that this is like a thing. Right. But it's like, I'm like, I guess it would be like equivalent to the disciples in the biblical times. It's like, we just have internet. A new way and we don't have to go. Like, we could just go into the world from our homes.
Yes.
So it's pretty cool.
And it spreads a lot faster too.
Yeah. Like, the crazy thing is, my top city is Lagos, Nigeria. And I ain't never been there. Like, never been there. It's so crazy. Like, my top 3 cities are all in Africa. like that of people who engage with my content. So it is, to your point, it goes further faster for sure.
Yes, that's awesome. Well, I'm so glad to have you.
Yes, thank you.
You're going to be here all weekend for the conference?
Yes, I'll be in and out. I'm excited for all the things. My podcast is actually nominated for Podcast of the Year.
Wow.
So I'm excited about that. I'm like, my podcast started in my closet. And look what like the Lord has done. So I'm excited. I know Jackie. So I know like what this conference means to her, and like seeing it in seed form and then seeing like what God has done has been like super inspiring to watch. So I'm super duper proud of her.
Well, that's awesome. So where can our people find you on social media?
Listen, everywhere at I am Brenda Palmer, like YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. I have a podcast. Like, you should definitely tap in, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Everything across the board is I am Brenda Palmer.
And do you have any brands you want to promote as well?
No, I need to do better about that. I don't have a brand. Here's the brand. Jesus. Okay.
Amen.
If you don't know Jesus, you should get to know him, because I promise you, choosing to follow him will be the absolute best decision you ever make in your life. That's the only brand that's important for me to promote.
Amen. Well, it was a pleasure having you. Thank you so much.
This is fun.